maybe you should. No, I've got to get pizzas to that observatory over there. And so you get attacked by some like smoke monster, and you like the pizzas fall off, and you're like scrambling around, like, oh no, somebody
Smoke
needs
monster.
the pepperoni.
So I'm swimming through 30 weight motor oil.
Why are these new additions to your game that your intention was to release this fall? What are you doing?
Their primary focus should be surviving litigation.
Someone take his phone. I'll do it. Just give me a key card and a red button that turns off Randy's Wi-Fi.
It pisses me off that they lump racing in with sports. Then you look at this insert F-bomb, Mario Kart and Sonic Racing lumped in with F-125.
An aimless rant. We were just angry.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology.
What's up, everybody? We are live. It is episode 40. I didn't actually look. 7 of the Hardcore Casual broadcast.
I thought you were going to stop at 40 there for a second. I'm like, dude, we blew by that a long time ago.
But yeah, he is Jay of F1 podcast fame. I am Mason of Radio Infamy, and we are the conversation at the table behind you. And System is already in the chat. Hello, System.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for showing up. So first of all, a little bit of an apology just to get it out of the way. Obviously, there's things that you know, and then there's things that you know. I knew last week that next Thursday, being now yesterday, was Thanksgiving. But I'm a creature of habit, and I don't always connect the dots whenever I have these two pieces of information. Yeah. So I didn't quite think like, oh, right, we won't be able to do the show Thursday night, most likely. So then Jay was like, hey, we should record a message to let everybody know. So we recorded that on Wednesday. And then I had issues with my editing software, couldn't get it out. So we couldn't get it announced. That's on me, my bad. But we are here now. We are late. We are belated. But Jay, how are you doing this post-Thanksgiving day?
Well, I'm still trying to recover. I mean, obviously, yesterday was crazy, a little bit of family stuff. And then I went to a friend's house for actual dinner. And yeah, man, I mean, the spread was ridiculous. So it's a recovery day today. And I've literally just been chilling out and resting today.
Yes, today has definitely been a recovery day for me as well. I also did 2 Thanksgivings in 2 different states. Did Thanksgiving in Oklahoma, then did Thanksgiving in Texas. It was a full day. It was a hectic day. It was a brutal schedule, but it was well worth it. It was a fantastic day, but it's definitely a day that I needed to recover from. However, I did want to point out, obviously, so we've had turkey and apple pie. It's post-Thanksgiving. It's Black Friday. The McRib is back. Little Debbie's Christmas tree cakes are back. It is morning in America again. We are
dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria.
So yeah, it is Black Friday for all those who celebrate. So have you tinkered at all on, like, I assume probably not. I don't go to the stores. I'm not brick and mortar Black Friday guy. But I'll do some online stuff. Have you done anything online?
No, I haven't went further than 10 blocks from the house. No.
Well, speaking of house, this is how I know that I'm old. Would you? I'll pull a you. Would you like to take a guess at what I spent my Black Friday browsing?
Obviously, you don't care anything about what I spent my Black Friday to pull a you. But no, I do not know what you spent your Black Friday browsing.
You won't guess it.
I won't guess it. So go ahead and tell me.
Flatware. I looked at flatware.
You know, actually, if you'd have given me longer than 10 seconds, which you didn't, I might have guessed some type of home accoutrement. But yes, it's a good call. Are you getting it monogrammed
though?
Are you getting it monogrammed with an M on the?
No, end? I'm not. I'm not. I'm old. I'm not rich.
Okay. Are you getting the 2-tined forks to be all artsy fartsy? Or are you getting
no fruit forks in this house? We are not a fruit fork household.
It's silverware system.
Yeah, falling behind on there we go. Blackware, yeah, it's silverware. So forks, spoons, knives. It's the fancy word for what we would just call silverware or cutlery. They
cutlery,
call
even
it
though doesn't all
flatware and they
cut.
add a 0.
Although I do get picked on for cutting things with forks because I eat my pizza with a fork and I
Ugh.
cut it with the fork.
Okay, well, we'll end on that shame.
It's been a good show. I'll see you guys.
But
Oh,
like we
man.
said, it is Black Friday. There's a lot of stuff going on. I've kind of looked around. I haven't seen anything that really grabbed me on the gaming or entertainment space as far as Black Friday sales. I'm sure Steam's probably got some insane stuff, but as I am not a PC gamer as of this moment, I was out of that loop.
Well, I typically do themes for everybody's Christmas gifts every year and kind of center it on that. But like Alex this year, the biggest game he really wanted after playing it on Game Pass on my PC was Steam has ridiculous sales going on. But nobody in my sphere of influence is a PC gamer except me.
We'll work on it.
Yeah. So yeah. But anyway, Alex wants Ninja Gaiden 4, and I can't confirm nor deny whether he's getting that or not, since he may or may not be listening. But I know that's one of the big games. He played it for 10 minutes. He was like, "Yep, want this." So,
well, it definitely seems like his kind of game.
That.
I know he eats up the From Soft games and all that stuff. So it seems like it would be right up his alley.
Well, like I told you, we spent Thanksgiving Day hanging out here. He was playing Dark Souls, and I mean, that was Dark Souls 3, which is, I don't know, 10, 15 years old. So, which is crazy by itself. But just to give you an idea on Steam right now, if you got a second, man, let me get down to
I
just
think
the
we've got
list.
at least an hour, Jay. That's the whole point.
So they've got Cyberpunk Cyberpunk, the Ultimate Edition, Space Marine. I mean, pretty much everything, but pretty decent sales. They even got the new Mountain Blade Bannerlord War sales, which is like the naval part of Mountain Blade Bannerlord 2, which if you haven't played that game, it's fabulous. If you're playing it on PC, though, make sure you either download the Lord of the Rings mod or the Game of Thrones mod.
I've not even
full
heard
conversions.
of this game that you're talking about right now.
Are you serious right now?
Yeah, is it on console at all?
It is on console. In fact,
Really?
It's on PS Plus Extra. Mountain Blade Bannerlord 2, not the first one. It's a weird fusion of RPG where you're on foot and mount RPG, and also strategy in an effort that when you get into these, like, and I'm talking large scale battles where it's hundreds of people on the field and you're in it, but you're still trying to like point and click where your guys are going to fight. But as you can imagine, a Game of Thrones mod where they have the music from the HBO show and all the houses and the map and would be awesome. And same with the Lord of the Rings one, and both of those are available and they're fantastic.
I appreciate your discretion there with your superlatives.
Yes,
I feel like I've ruined one for at least 3 months.
But anyways, Steam's got some great sales going on. I think it's better than PlayStation's Black Friday, although most of the same games are there. It's just not the same amount of discount.
Well, I guess to kind of get into our news stories, one of the things that I did want to talk about, as we talk about Steam sort of like dipping their toe in the water of the console space, this is the kind of thing that I hope them sort of like nudging into that environment, that we can actually kind of get some of that to rub off to where PlayStation, Xbox, probably not Nintendo, but it would be nice because they never put anything on sale. But for them to kind of have to actually compete with the Steam sales, because Valve, they go all out for Steam sales. And like, PlayStation, you might get 25% off of something that's been out for 2-3 years, maybe longer, but it's not much. It's you might get like a free upgrade to a premium edition of a game or something like that. It's pretty lackluster. And I hope that Steam's foray into the console gaming space can sort of force the big console players' hands whenever it comes to sales, not just Black Friday, obviously, but just in general, whenever it comes to sales. Because right now, a sale on the PSN store doesn't really mean much. it's not difficult for me at all to pass up a sale on the PSN store because it's like, okay, maybe things are tight. You're saving me $3. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just wait and save the whole amount. How about that? Like it's not enticing right now. Whereas Valve, Steam, whole nother situation.
Yeah. That's one of the benefits, I think. But I mean, you're asking people to make a hell of an investment to put a PC together that'll run some of these titles because people on console, they buy the game and they just turn it on and they just play.
Well, again, that brings us to the Steam machine. So
It does.
rumors are still swirling as to what exactly this is, and Steam is being very careful or Steam, Valve, all whatever you want to call them. They're being very careful in the answers that they give to questions, and even whenever they give what appears to be a straightforward answer, I'm not going to lie to you, Jay. I don't believe them. I don't believe them.
Okay.
So we have heard that, that they're, which you and I talked about just before the show went live, that their strategy is not going to be to sell this thing at a loss, which is the kind of the standard, the industry standard
Right.
whenever it comes to launching a console, and has been for them in the past, and even whenever it comes to the Steam Deck. So we've heard that they are going to try to sell at least at cost, if not a little bit above cost, so that they can actually profit off of that. So
Right.
that's the first thing that we're hearing. I know that you had some thoughts on that as far as their sales strategy.
Well, I mean, there's other devices that they have taken a loss on for a while. The Steam Deck, I feel like, is not one of them, at least on the high end. The low end one, I feel like they take a loss on. And then their VR headsets are priced to compete. And they know they have a great platform. I mean, they're like almost like Rockstar. They're just printing money with the Steam Deck. What kind of bothers me, and I wanted to get into this too, is that it's running the Steam OS, the Steam machine, and not Windows,
which I believe is the spinoff of Linux, right? Like it's like a modded Linux.
Yeah, and that's what it is, and that's not altogether a bad thing. But I feel like you're going to have developers that are like, "Hey, this is a Windows format game," but I'm hoping obviously that it would run everything that's within Steam. I mean, it would almost have to. My other questions, and this is always my question with small format PC builds, is how long can you game before this thing starts to overheat?
Well, I mean, we looked at it a couple of shows ago. We looked at it a couple of shows ago, and we got to see it with the case, taken off, and that thing looked like it was 70%-ish heat sink.
Yeah.
I mean, so I imagine that it should handle heat pretty efficiently. I would imagine that they've gone over that. But whenever it comes to the pricing strategy, I know that you had said basically like, hey, they've kind of cut deals on all these things before. Like they're sort of, we can give them a pass on this. And I don't disagree. I don't think that any company should be required or expected to take a loss on anything there. However, given their history and given their stature in the gaming community, I don't think, even if they do price it higher than where Xbox and PlayStation are, which I think would actually be warranted, especially given what you have access to at that point, I don't think that they're just going to not make it worth it or kind of like have that barrier of entry. The one thing that's been brought up quite a bit now is that every time Steam launches something or Valve launches something, that they launch a game to coincide with it. And so when they launched the VR thing, they had the Half-Life VR game, was Half-Life Alyx or something like that they launched with it.
Ridiculously popular.
And also still one of the most interactive VR experiences out there. What's the thing where they would have like, windows and you could pick up a marker off the table, like a dry erase marker off the table, and then
And
just
draw on
draw
the
on the
window.
window randomly and just see stuff. So they which is a side tangent, which is why I think Valve will win the VR war, which is kind of little skirmishes right now. It's not full fledged. It's still we've kind of talked about where the VR thing is at right now, but I think it will be Valve that eventually wins that tussle. But everybody's talking about Half-Life 3. And so we're going to talk a little bit about this a little bit later in the show when we talk about our predictions for Game Awards reveals. Obviously, last week we did our megasode where we talked about who we want to win, who we think is going to win the various awards. But later in the show, we're going to talk about predictions and things that we think might be announced. Some sure things, some long shots, things that we'd like to see for the world premiere trailers and such. But there is speculation flying around that Half-Life 3 is not just deep in development, but that it is finished and ready to be announced and dropped. So people are speculating that it will launch alongside the Steam machine.
Okay, so I got two things, and I'm going to pocket the Half-Life thing for a second. But scouring the interwebs out there, almost every game site has a survey of what do people think the Steam machine is going to cost, and almost every one of them is somewhere between $500 and $1,200.
$750 is the most common one that I have seen.
Yeah. So my question to you is, what do you think it's going to come in at?
That I don't know.
Obviously, urine samples are for testing; they're not for drinking.
No, this is a Manhattan Project Half-Life, Dallas's own.
Oh, nice
Manhattan Project Half-Life.
Very good beer.
Which yes, you and I need to go to the actual brewery. It's a great place. But anyway, so I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a PC gamer. You've talked to me before about what you can build with a certain budget, what you can get in there. So my input, like I said, I'm not in that world, the PC gaming world, so I don't know. But the most common thing that I have seen is $750. Now, like I said, you have an educated opinion when it comes to building a PC. So what do you think? Given what we've seen so far, what they're claiming to want to put out, where they're wanting to hit 4K 60, which that's their thing. They say that the 4K 60 is what they're aiming to hit. Not obviously not 120, not the crazy refresh rates of 120, 240 or anything like that, but supposedly they're wanting to be able to hit 4K 60 on most games.
Okay, on most games. Okay, so we're not talking about like the new Battlefield hitting 4K 60 because that's
probably
a pipe
not.
dream. If this thing's not $1,200, that's a complete. It's a pipe dream at $1,200 to hit 4K 60 on Black Ops 7 or Borderlands 4 or Battlefield or any of those.
So if you were to put it together, let's say, so not even just what do you think, but also just given your experience of building PCs, what do you think, like what would it take for you to put together a PC that could run a lot, but not everything at 4K 60? Let's mid-tier. So we'll talk mid-tier gaming PC. What do you think your absolute lowest price that you could put something like that together would be? Cutting some corners where you could.
And that's cutting some corners. $950.
And then if we say, obviously they're going to be doing this at scale, they're gonna get some price cuts. If we were to say knock $100 off of that, just because the scale that they're producing at, $850, does that sound reasonable to you?
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about running 4K 60 from games from last year or the year before that, maybe, yeah. Not using a whole lot of name brand components inside the box, yes, it's possible.
Well, so we'll talk a little bit more about Valve a little bit later whenever we talk about that. I just had a few things that I wanted to cover. So Nothing big here. Just a few news stories as we have a pretty slow news day this week. But it has CD Projekt Red did come out and they said that Cyberpunk 2077 is now their main source of income, and that the sales are outpacing The Witcher 3 at this point of its life cycle. So they have managed to take that from which we've talked about before. Whenever we've talked about gaming companies turning around games, obviously we talked about Hello Games turning around No Man's Sky. We talked about CD Projekt Red, and obviously released Cyberpunk 2077 in a horrifically broken state. I was one of those that I played on console. I didn't have a bad experience. I didn't see the insanity that a lot of people did on PC. Yeah. But they have taken it. Not only have they now turned that into something that is respected, doing well, profitable, they're turning that to their main source of income. So I just thought that was interesting. And I don't know.
Well, I feel like it was a statistical inevitability at some point, just based on as the years go by, because, you know, The Witcher was deeper in the fold than Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk started out tough, but amongst the PC nation, dude, it is one of the most beloved games of all time now. And I mean, I'm not kidding, of all time. It is absolutely beloved.
Well, there's so much to
probably a lot of that's the modding community, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. The mods are absolutely one of those things that help keep it alive. And CD Projekt Red is also one of the unfortunately rare companies that sort of embrace the modding community, and they encourage that kind of thing. But the not only that, I think they're also one of the probably one of the few studios that could probably withstand that rough period to get to the other side of it. I think as rough as that period got, if they had not been CD Projekt Red, I don't think they would have been able to get, or at least not been able to get through that with a full staff. There would have been some pretty heavy cuts and stuff like that. So I'm glad that they were able to sort of withstand that war, and that they didn't do the thing that it's become all too familiar from so many Xbox studios and other game companies, where they just lay off hundreds of people or something like that, and they've managed to not only turn it around, but that's now the main driver of their company and their profitability.
You know, and I know I brought up mods, but it's important for people that don't know, if you are part of PC Nation, whether wholeheartedly or a hybrid where you still play on console, if a game does not support modders, you can count the life cycle of that game with an egg timer. I mean, they'll be done, and I mean fast. That's what's saving Hogwarts Legacy right now. People have turned Hogwarts Legacy into a modding playground.
So obviously we've talked about Starfield, and you've brought up the Genesis, the big Star Wars mod thing. So whenever we come to Hogwarts, what's the meta on Hogwarts? What's like the popular mod for Hogwarts Legacy?
So first off, dragon mounts. They added dragon mounts as so there's that.
Definitely better than a broom.
No cooldowns on unforgivable curses.
Avada Kedavra.
But one of my favorite ones they added was NPC combat, where you can attack anybody if you want to.
Like professors.
You could be walking down the hallway at school and pop an Avada Kedavra on a little girl if you want to. But when you do, you got to be ready to pay the piper, because not only do all the students come out on you, every teacher in the building will be on you like stink on shit, dude. And
it's like committing a crime at the police station in GTA, and like everybody's like turns.
Yeah, except there's no 1-star to 5-star wanted level in Hogwarts. You pop an unforgivable, you are at 5 stars, brother. You better get off the premises as quick as you can.
Tom Riddle can't save you.
I know everybody in my house laughs their ass off if they hear me playing it, because I added the Ralph Fiennes Voldemort voice pack. So every time I do it, it's the from the movie. So it's pretty funny. But and then being able to fly on the Hogwarts grounds and being able to fly in Hogsmeade and I mean, just a lot of the additional arenas and dungeons that they added through mods. But that saved that game, dude. That thing is a masterpiece on PC. Yeah, it is a masterpiece on it.
I mean, it's obviously a popular thing in consoles as well, but the mod support, not only is it not there, but it's also not expected when it comes to console games. So we're happy to get what we can, but whenever somebody does do it, it becomes a big deal.
Real quick, there's a lot of modders out there that did a full modernization of clothing. So you'll forget you're back in like the early 1900s. It looks like Harry and Ron and Hermione's Hogwarts. And it does randomized outfits for everybody. And sometimes one person's in this outfit one day and another one the next. But it's completely randomized modern clothing. So it's kind of cool. It changes the whole. It changes the whole game.
I do still need to finish that game. That's one where, again, we've talked about. It is an affliction. We are completionists, and I find it just inconceivable to just rush through to the end.
So I'm just going to say this: if you love that scene in Harry Potter and I think it was the Order of the Phoenix, the one where Sirius dies.
That is actually my least favorite of the movies.
But that scene where the kids are trapped in the ministry and all the good R's like freaking just teleport in and help them in that fight. Of course, if you didn't get the chills on that, something's wrong with you. But then the end of Hogwarts Legacy is going to blow. I mean, it is almost pull out a tear worthy on how that goes, because you are absolutely at the end of your rope by the time you get to that game by design.
Well, so, maybe I don't have a lot left on my vacation time for the holiday season, but maybe I'll get some of that in on the weekend. Another story I saw, and I know this will devastate you, Jay. So I hope that you are braced.
Oh God.
Ubisoft no longer plans to release a second Assassin's Creed Shadows expansion.
Okay, so
I'm
you were
here
being
for
sarcastic.
you if you need me.
That's fabulous. I'm actually happy about that.
Yeah, me too.
I wish they'd shit can the game and just cancel it.
Yeah, they're clearly cutting bait and running on that one. They've kind of seen the writing on the wall. Again, like we've said so many times, Ghost of Tsushima beat them to the punch, and not only did it beat them to the punch, it did it better. That's a thing where if in a world where you are Ubisoft,
in a world
where you are Ubisoft, and they release Ghost of Tsushima, and you see that game before you release your own game, you scrap what you've done and you start over.
Here's my thing: just because you have shit tons of money and you own a company, obviously doesn't mean you're intelligent, or at least sharp. You can be intelligent without being sharp. I get that. But if you're not sitting in a boardroom when they release Ghost of Tsushima at Ubisoft with 11 bigwigs in the room watching footage from this game and going, well, shit.
Yep.
Guys, cancel the Japan one. They nailed this.
They did us better than we do us. Brother,
if it had been me and you in that room, I'd have said, whoever's working on Shadows, scrap it. We got to come up with something else, because we are going to be second-class citizens here.
Hire new writers. Let's get some new, fresh ideas on here. We got to do something, because
Plus, you know the lower guys on the chain, the dev guys sitting at a laptop for 18 hours a day, hammering out artwork and coding. They're probably at home playing on their free time, playing Ghost of Tsushima, going, Jesus, dude, we shouldn't even bother. This is
This is the thing where, in any game, there's always ideas that get left, on the cutting room floor, as it were, where it's like, oh, wouldn't this mechanic be cool? Wouldn't it be cool if we did this? What about this level? There's always things like that where they're like, okay, we got to get this done. We've got to cut it. We can't do it. This is a situation where you're like, pick all those back up, all those game mechanics, all those cool abilities that you're like, we got to cut them to make the launch date. Push your launch date back. Pick it all back up and sort through it again. We got to refilter this stuff, because we got to start over. So yeah, the fact that they even had the balls to release that game after. Again, it's not like they released it 2 months or 3 months after the game. Like, they had plenty of time to see what was there and recalculate. I know that they were really on this kick of this aggressive release schedule for these games.
Yeah.
But I believe I don't remember which Nintendo. I believe it was Nintendo executive that was famous for saying that if you release a broken game, it's broken forever. But if you take your time, like that's where the money is. Take your time. Like, people will forgive you for delaying a game if it releases and it's awesome. It is very hard. I mean, we just talked about CD Projekt Red. They are one of the few that released a broken game and made good. Most of the time, you release a broken game and it's over. Your studio's closed. It's like we just had the what was that game that IO Interactive was the publisher for it, where it was like Mind something.
Oh my God, that one, it was like an open world. They compared it to like GTA. Mind's Eye.
That's what. Yeah, and that one,
that shit was terrible,
and it was awful, and they could not weather that storm. That thing is on life support. That company is not doing well. So, yeah, I like I said, I know that Ubisoft wanted to be aggressive, but that's one of those things where, again, I just can't imagine the calculus that went into seeing that and releasing anyway. It's their own fault. This is one where I have no sympathies for anyone for that, because you had plenty of time to see that coming. The writing was on the wall.
Yeah.
All right. So the big thing that we wanted, or there's two big things. One, we wanted to talk, like I said, our predictions for the Game Awards. Two, as far as announcements, and two, some thoughts on Stranger Things and maybe some other things here. But as far as the Game Awards goes,
I've got some stuff for that.
Yeah, so that's December 11th, and in order to sort of redeem myself for not alerting anybody to the fact that we would not be able to record on Thanksgiving, as it turns out, the Game Awards are on, as you can see periodically on Jay's background. If he was to move to the right a little bit, you would see that the Game Awards are actually on December 11th, which is a Thursday. So we will be, I'm trying to find the best way to do it to make sure that we don't get, like, I'm fine with a copyright claim.
We will.
I'm fine with a copyright claim. I'm not good with a copyright strike. And I have been consulting my legal advisors, which are all AI.
Brother, I have Godsmack song playing my intro on Fuel Pod, and I've never received one notification. I think as long as we're under 1,000, I think we're solid. Not to mention, go on Etsy and look how much bootleg shit gets sold on there every day. But
now Etsy and YouTube are separate entities. So.
I get it. But I feel like we can watch it maybe off to the side, and we can just talk about.
Well, I think that's going to be the best, the safest approach. The lowest rung that we can guarantee you guys is that you can start it at the same time and watch it with us. We will be watching it live and reacting to it.
What time does it start?
I'm not sure. I don't have that in front of me. We've got another show before that launches, so we'll get that all straightened out. But yeah, we'll do that. We'll have our reactions, and we'll try to bring up at least some of the big things. But at the very minimum, we can guarantee you guys that you can watch it with us, and it'll be like watching on the couch with friends and celebrating the wins. Oh, yes, sir.
The 2025 Video Game Awards will be on Thursday, December 11th, with the pre-show starting at 4:30 Pacific, which is 6:30 our time, 7:30 Eastern, and the main event beginning at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern, which is 7 Central, dude.
There we go.
Yeah. So if you start watching the show live, you'll line up perfect with us. That is perfect. And for the record, even if it wouldn't have lined up perfect, we would have made it line up.
Yeah,
perfect.
We would have figured something out.
Yeah,
we're gonna make it work. But so we will be doing that. But we've, like I said, we've already talked about our predictions for the winners. And by the way, the joystick awards just happened, and Claire Obscure Expedition 33 won
Ran the
every
table.
single category that they were nominated for.
Yeah.
Every
Alex and I on the way home back to his mom's on Thursday for Thanksgiving. He goes, so how many awards do you think Claire Obscure it? And I'm going to give you guys a really dyed in the wool deep moment with Jay right here. He goes, how many do you think they're going to win? I said, I think they're going to win every one that they're nominated for. And he goes, you didn't say that on the show. And I go, no, I didn't, because, I was trying to be real, but part of me thinks that they're going to let them win every single award that they're nominated for as a wake-up call to developers to say, hey, make a better game.
Well, I mean, it is kind of like, at the time that we mentioned what I'm about to
and moaning for a couple
well, it's
of years.
like, whenever we were talking about the particular moment that I'm going to reference right now, we were talking about Hideo Kojima, who's obviously that dude's A tier. He cares. Like, that's a whole thing.
Yeah.
However, it is important to realize, but like we said, if Hideo Kojima wins or loses Game of the Year, he wakes up the next day and his life is exactly the same. I would
wake up every day and go
anything.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh
he's gonna wake up in his
Kojima.
silk sheets on his California King bed.
Yeah.
With a view of the ocean or whatever. But it's not going to change his life at all. These people, Claire Obscure, like the developer, Sandfall, the developers behind this, if they win, this changes their lives, even down to the lowest person on the rung. Whenever it comes to the devs and the designers and the people doing the grunt work, that's something they can put on their resume. This will change their lives. So if they did run the board where they won everything that they were nominated, I wouldn't be upset about it. I would say that's fair. That is fair, because again, they released such a high quality product like Baldur's Gate 3. It was one of those things where it moved the goalpost, which is, it's going to have to, people are going to have to step up by default. Baldur's Gate 3, they made their RPG. And it's the same. Granted, it's the same RPG that they've been making for years now. They made Divinity Original Sin 1, Divinity Original Sin 2.
Almost the same.
Yeah. And they have been doing this. They just didn't have the attention. And then they finally got the attention that they needed. And people, the wider audience, saw what was going on. And they're like, oh, wow, this is what I can do. And then they saw the limitless possibilities. That's not just aspirational anymore. That's the standard. That's what people expect when they play an RPG. So you give them an experience that's less than that, and they're going to be disappointed. You give them an experience that's way less than that, and they're going to be pissed off. But so Claire Obscure they're driving that forward for that kind of their particular genre of RPG. That's the new expectation.
Here's the thing too, though. You go back, and I mean way back. Final Fantasy VII moved the needle. And I'm not talking about the remake for all you Generation Y people out there. I'm talking about for all of us Gen X's and Zennials.
I think that was original when JRPGs really went mainstream.
Well, that was the first Final Fantasy in 3D. It was a 3-discer on the PS1. That thing moved the needle. Here's the weird thing. Final Fantasy VIII is better. I know that's a hot take. So
it's a hot take, and I disagree, sir.
Final Fantasy VIII is a better game.
What was that
Final
sport
Fantasy
that they played
7,
with the freaking ball underwater?
No, that's Final Fantasy X, which I'll get to in a second. Final Fantasy VIII was better. But Final Fantasy VII is the one that moved the needle and set the stage for 8. So, yes, it deserved all the credit and the fame. It still gets to this day. And when they did the remake, they did it honest, but added a modern flair. So I get it.
I love the remakes.
And the remake is awesome. Yeah, I was going to say I love the remake as well. I love that whole. It's the only Final Fantasy that we got multiple entries, really in that set, including a movie, which was excellent, by the way. Advent Children.
No, there was just the one. I was thinking they did 2, but there was just the one, Advent Children, right? And then the other movie was the one that got panned. That
Spirits Within, which I also liked, by the way. But anyway, we'll get to that later. So, and then they went like this kiddie art direction for Final Fantasy IX. Fabulous game. Weird art direction. Okay. Final Fantasy X was the last one that was JRPG. That was listed as a JRPG. Turn-based. It had Blitzball in it, which apparently Russ hates.
Blitzball, that's it.
But the summons in that one set the stage for all the ones that we've had since. The way that Yuna summoned Ifrit and all those cats, Yojimbo and all of them. That one set the stage for all the ones we've seen since. And I've started playing 16 finally, even though it's been on my backlog for 2 years. And I'm just absolutely, I'm blown away by 16. But then you look at Mass Effect. Mass Effect moved the needle, even though it took Knights of the Old Republic and Jade Empire to set the stage for Mass Effect. Mass Effect 2, I feel like moved the needle again on its own. And then we look at God of War. God of War had fabulous games on the PS2. Changed their formula, obviously modernized it for the newer 2 God of Wars, but still moved the needle. Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate 3. And, here we are. So Claire Obscure, and there's people I know in social media this past week talking about it's not an indie game. They have all-star actors in that movie, in that game. And I'm going to tell you like I told my son.
That's a different thing than indie, though.
I'm going to tell you like I told my son. There are indie movies that have all-star actors in them. That's how they get. That's where they go when they want to win an Oscar.
In fact, Danny Trejo actually has a thing where he will do. Did you know this? Do you know what I'm about to say?
Go ahead, say it.
If he has like with his agent, he has a standing rule that if anybody contacts him and it's a student film, he will do it, and he will do it for free if he can work it into his schedule.
Dude, Danny Trejo is an exceptional human being.
Yes.
And I knew that before you said what you just said, but he's just an exceptional human being. I like that guy. Here's a guy that's an ex-con that has since made an incredible career. He's a bit actor.
He's a national treasure. He's a character actor. He's a character actor.
Yes. But, we used to call them bit actors, and I know that has undergone a degeneration of meaning, but
a slur now, yeah.
Technically his only main role was Machete, which are great movies, by the way, all of them. But still, anyway.
Well, him and Luis Guzman, they have all made careers of being character actors. Luis Guzman is in every third movie ever made.
Him and Michael Pena, yeah.
Yeah, like you don't have to be the leading man to make a career out of this, You can be Luis Guzman and be set for life.
Yeah.
That's one where I'll say Luis Guzman, they're like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "You know him." You know him. He's one of those guys that you show a picture like, "Oh, that guy."
You've seen him in everything. The funny thing was John C. Reilly used to be a Louis Guzman, and now he's John C. Reilly. He's made his own royalty, but it's funny how many guys start out as Louis Guzmans and become their own thing.
Yeah. Okay, so moving into our predictions for announcements for the Game Awards. So here we go. Predictions for announcements for the Game Awards. If you want to see our predictions for the winners, you can look at our latest episode. But for predictions for announcements. Now, again, as we've said, one of the big things about the Game Awards, this is, if you were to announce the game, this is like the Super Bowl for ads on the Super Bowl, right? If you want to announce a game, you want to make a big deal about your game, whether it's announcing it for the first time or releasing a new trailer or something like that. If you want the most eyeballs on it in the gaming sphere, you do it at the Game Awards. So there are always a string of trailers. It's kind of the biggest part of the show, actually. It takes up the majority of the show is the game trailers. And I know that you had something you want to say. What was that, Jake?
No, I just want to say before we start this part, are you going to want me to blow your mind right up front, or do you want me to do it at the end of this part?
You know what? I'm good with having my mind blown. Let's let's go hot. Let's come in hot. Let's go big
Oh,
early.
I'm coming in super hot. I mean,
So what category does this fall under? Is this a long shot? Is this a guarantee? Is this what you want to see?
this is based on a comment you made on our PSA where you said we're going to be making
That we didn't get to release
completely
for reasons.
baseless, maybe not
Wild,
even accurate,
unsubstantiated speculation.
unsubstantiated speculation. Are you ready?
Hold on. So just so I can catch up with you though, let me what sort of category does this fall under? Is this a long shot? Is this what you want to see, or is this what you is a guarantee?
It's not even, nobody's said anything about any of this.
Okay. So we'll call it a long shot, not a prediction.
Long shot.
So, okay. All right.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
The Matrix.
Whoa.
A new game based in the Matrix universe.
Wow. So
I just broke the internet. Let's give that a minute.
what was the last Matrix?
Enter the Matrix.
And that's the one where they actually
good.
The ending, right?
Yes, it was good. It had Jada Pinkett in it. It followed her and Ghost. So it was Niobe and Ghost. It was excellent. It was on it might have been on the original Xbox, bro.
It was a long time ago. But I know
we had Matrix Online. Yeah,
I know that it was well loved. I know the battle system was something that at the time was sort of like revolutionary. I think we would probably compare it to something it was not quite this. It didn't have the same mechanics, but yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but that is my absolute. And let's say this: Am I dying to have a really good modern game in the Matrix? Yes, that's fair. Is this a long shot? I mean, God, yes, absolutely. Would it be freaking cool? For sure. You're muted. You're still muted.
My goodness, what is going on?
Yeah.
So I can't compete with that whenever it comes to speculation. So I don't think that mine would be quite that out of the water. But my long shot speculation, my long shot guess for something that could show up at the Game Awards is Days Gone 2. Now, this is one that I know not everybody is gonna be sort of excited about that or whatever, but I think that had a rough launch, but that was a game that gathered a cult following. That's one of those games where it gained momentum post-launch, and by the time I got to it, because it was one of those things that I didn't even play it for a while simply because of what I had heard about it. And by the time I got to play it, whatever polish they had done on it, it was all complete. By the time I got to it, it was a complete, clean, polished experience, and I loved it. And we've talked about it on the show before. Now, the game director of and it's also important to point out that the studio, it's Ben Studios, and Sony owns Ben Studios. So it was a Sony exclusive game. If they did a sequel, it'd be a Sony exclusive game. They're kind of at the whim of Sony, and the game director has said multiple times that it's over. Like, they're not doing it. It didn't sell well enough. There's not going to be a sequel. But I'm a professional wrestling fan, right? And there's the truth, and then there's kayfabe, which is what you want people to think is the truth. And I think there's a little bit of kayfabe going on with this guy at Sony Ben Studios. They were working on another project, and that project actually got canceled months ago. And so their resources are freed up. It's a long shot, but I want it to happen. I hope it will be a thing. But that is my long shot. Is that we could potentially see Days Gone 2.
Okay, so I think you're right. B, I love Sam Witwer.
Oh yeah, he's great.
C,
He's like
you
Troy
stole
Baker,
my
where he's done so many
you
things.
you stole my thunder on my next one. And D, I'm not really into zombie games that are outside of World War Z. I think actually captured the zombie world that I would like to live in. But I love World War Z, which if you played Space Marine, is built on the World War Z engine. But I actually had two long shots, and you've kind of stole it. But my third long shot, also Sam Witwer, Star
Oh,
Wars, The
as soon
Force
as you said
Unleashed
also
3,
Sam Witwer, I was like, I know where he's going.
The Force Unleashed 3, and or not and or
And slash or.
Although, oh my God, that's my other long shot, an Andor game. But and slash or a Darth
Iowa
Maul.
Interactive presents Andor.
Yeah, so I literally just came up with three long shots based on coordinating conjunctions in grammar. But Force Unleashed 3, an Andor game, which would be excellent, by the way, and a Darth Maul game, two of which of those
Ooh.
games have Sam Witwer in them.
Dude, so Darth Maul, that is a big one. So, I mean, we've made countless references to it, whether we're talking about entertainment or video games. We love Darth Maul. That's one of the greatest crimes in cinematic history.
Killing
is that
him
you give
off.
us Darth Maul and then you kill him off in the first movie.
It's like killing off Eddie in Stranger Things, dude. It's the same principle.
Which we'll get to. Yeah, it's one of those things where, we had, especially this time, because the prequels, before the prequels, obviously we just had the original trilogy, and the original trilogy, we had Darth Vader for 3 movies. So whenever we had the prequels, we assumed that we would be sort of introduced to a long-term antagonist. And then we got Darth Maul and we're like, yeah, this dude's awesome. This is amazing. It was the first time we got to see a double-bladed lightsaber on screen, all this stuff. And then they killed him immediately. And then nobody that they introduced after that could get anywhere even close to as cool as Darth Maul was.
So I want to ask you something, and this is a little off the top.
So unlike us.
On a tangent, really, because I want to make sure we bring it right back in because I don't have as much time tonight. But when you were in the theater seeing episode 1 for the first time, yes, you got to see Darth Maul when Qui-Gon grabbed Anakin and Tatooine, and they had a little fracas in the desert. But if you're able to grasp the feelings you had on Naboo when those double doors opened and he popped his saber and then he popped that second side.
That was the thing where you're like, oh my God. Like,
I
didn't even know they could do that.
I remember saying out loud and probably audible to anybody in the theater. I was like, oh my God, Exar Kun's saber, which you'd have to, if you're a fan of the expanded universe, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
On that one.
Yeah.
Too deep
so
in for me on
Exar
that
Kun was the very first to use the double-bladed lightsaber. And so when I saw Darth Maul pop that in the theater, I was like, oh my God, here we go. This is awesome. And then 10 minutes later,
he became two as well.
He became two-ended as well. Spoilers, but seriously, you should have seen episode 1 by now. But dude, I feel like we're not going to get through this video game awards without a Star Wars announcement. I really do.
Yeah, that is one thing I mean, there have obviously been some lowlights whenever it comes to Star Wars, like what was the it wasn't Rebels, but where you play the little scoundrel chick.
Outlaws,
thank you. Yeah, so there've been some
sale, by the way.
Yeah, well, as it should be.
For Black Friday.
So there's been some lowlights, but there's also been some incredible highlights, like the Fallen Order and the Jedi Survivor games.
Yes.
Those have been outstanding. They've been great. Thank you. They've been great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, stellar. Those were stellar games.
Oh, I love
And,
Stellar. It's one of my favorites.
So I would love to see that. I would love to see, and again, The Force Unleashed was also the first time that I could remember in a video game, because there had been Star Wars games before that, but that was the first one in the video game where I really felt like I was doing this. Like you really felt like you were.
Dude,
you weren't
you
just
were
pushing a
bringing
button.
that
You had a tangible impact on something.
When you were bringing that Star Destroyer back down, man, come on.
Or tearing railing off of the side of a thing. Like that was the first one where I really felt like I'm doing this.
Not
like
for nothing, but an Andor, based on the success that show has had with the Emmy nominations and the whole bit, a dark Andor RPG would be legit. I feel like.
Well, what I would like to see in the vein of that is, what was the game? It was one of the games that we did on one of our casualty list shows, where it was a tactical RPG that was one of yours.
Was it
where
Star
you could go
Wars?
in as a veteran or a rookie, and that would impact the way that people looked at you?
Oh, Alpha Protocol.
Alpha Protocol. Give us something like that for an Andor game, since it is like it's a heist,
And he was rough at the beginning. His skills were, he had to really kind of develop himself as he went. And I really felt like, much like you talked about Dan Trachtenberg with Predator, Andor plays out like you starting out as a nothing in a video game RPG. So I feel like Andor would be a good call. I feel like Force Unleashed would be a good call. I feel like we're obviously going to get some new footage on Zero Company.
Okay, well, now let's move. So those are our long shots. So now let's get on to what we would like to see. So Zero Company is a good place to start.
Yeah, Zero Company. It looks like, and
it's been a long time since we heard about it.
Yeah, but it looks like it's built a lot like Warhammer Rogue Trader, where it's a turn-based XCOM, Baldur's Gate 3 kind of mashup.
I've been waiting impatiently for XCOM 3, so I would love something to jump in and fill that void.
All your classic Star Wars archetype tropes are in there. You got a Mandalorian and a Jedi and all those things, a smuggler, and so it looks like you're going to be able to build whatever kind of team you really want. I'm always looking for a game, though, that lets you deny somebody entrance into your party. It feels like in those games, you always meet somebody and you don't really have a choice. They're joining your party. I would love to be able to say, no, you do not belong with me. And then have a later storyline where they come back and they're like, hey, you didn't take me. Now screw you. Here's a fight. I feel like the closest we ever got to that was Mass Effect with Conrad Werner. You're a super fan? Remember him?
Another. I do, but there was also another situation where you had a party member where you could choose one or the other, and that could have some pretty dire consequences.
Yeah. So
one being a cop and one being the child of the cop.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, I definitely want to see some Star Wars Zero Company stuff, and that's that's where I'm at as far as the awards go.
So some games that I would like to see more from. So again, the wild speculation out there that was where I threw in the Days Gone 2. But what I would like to see and kind of expect to see is Wolverine. I expect to see more from the Wolverine game, from Marvel's Wolverine. We got the quick teaser some time ago. Then we got the brief thing earlier this year, where the big important thing that we got was basically confirmation that's going to be M-rated, because obviously he's sticking claws in people and he's splitting people open. So we got that. But I think that I really would like to, and I expect that we probably will get some kind of acknowledgement and additional footage from the Wolverine game.
Yeah.
Do you have another one to throw in?
Well, I don't want to get
Because
sorry.
I do.
I just had one of those bad autocorrect
Oh boy. Well,
instances on
throw
my
this one at you
phone.
then. While you're
Go for it.
undoing whatever damage might have been
Yeah.
done by
Well, that was to my son, so
Mass Effect 5. I expect that
I'm
we will
gonna-
see something from Mass Effect 5.
okay, so that was my next one. And my thing is this, and I think you'll agree with me when I say this. If BioWare does not come to the table with something about Mass Effect 5, because I guarantee you the Expanse Osiris Reborn is showing up for this show.
All the same stuff that we just
BioWare
said
needs a
about
response.
Ubisoft and Ghost of Tsushima.
Yes.
That also applies to Mass Effect and the Expanse. They better be taking notes.
They have to, dude. They're getting slapped around like a school kid right now on the playground.
They had 3 failures back to back to back. Most game companies do not survive that. You get 2, you're gone. 3, it's a guaranteed out. To have 3 and still get to release another game is virtually unheard of. It's like the UFC. You lose 3 fights, you're cut. So to have somebody that makes it beyond that is almost unheard of. This is 100% their last hurrah. They have one shot to get this right now.
So I'm on the way back home to my kid's mom's house to drop him off. And he goes, "So what are you guys talking about next week?" And I said, "We're talking about what we think will be on world premiere." And he goes, "What do you think will be on there?" And I said, "Mass Effect 5." And he goes, "Wait, there was a 4?" And I go, "Yes, but nobody counts it."
Yep.
So here's the thing, once the Expanse got announced, if you're BioWare and you're not trying to come to the table with something, then just quit.
And not
just
to mention
stop.
how many N7 days have we gone now since they announced that they were working on Mass Effect 5?
Yeah.
And then it's been like 3 at
when
least?
Was that video with Liara walking through the snow?
I don't even know anymore. It was pandemic era. It all feels like 6 months. But it's been at least
like 1989 or something.
It's been at least 3 years. And this year was another year. N7 day, November 7th, for those that may not be aware. So N7 is sort of like the designation of this thing. So November 7th is like the day where they sort of had these. It used to be a day where they would have sales, announcements, things like that. But ever since they just launched out of the starting blocks and embarrassed themselves with Mass Effect 4, every N7 day has been very quiet. Very, very quiet. And they'll just have a post on Twitter where they're like, "We're working on it. We're doing things.
We're still alive in here."
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. They have it's been announced. We've gotten nothing. Obviously, we're still in November. With by the time the Game Awards happen, obviously it'll be December. But we are just a couple of weeks removed from another N7 that has come and gone with nothing other than we're doing things, guys. We're still working on it. And like you said, the Expanse and Osiris Reborn has exploded. I mean, I don't even know if they expected that to take off the way it did.
No.
They showed a clip of it as part of a collage of other things, and everybody was like, "That? What is that?" And it has just taken on a life of its own. So they have to respond. They have to respond. Because if they don't, now granted, they could still make a good game, but this is one of those things where you have to let people know that you're still alive. Like, you have to let people know that there's still hope. Like, you have to send a sign of life to where, like, "Hey, we hear you. We saw what you saw. We're doing something too. You can follow us."
I'm just worried they're going to be like, here's the world premiere of the Mass Effect crossover DLC for the Expanse Osiris Reborn. So, I mean, that would be awful, obviously, but yeah, man, they've got to come. And then worse is the announcement. And I know this has nothing to do with the Game Awards, but that the TV show, is going to start at the end of 3. For all of us hardcore Mass Effect fans, that's just terrible. But still, yeah, they got to come
We
correct.
kind of pointed out all the reasons why that is a less than ideal starting point for a show. But yeah, so that's one of my things where I do expect a response. How about you? What else do you expect will be there? Not necessarily a sure thing, but that you expect to see.
Well, I think 007 will be there, but just simply because it's one of the
Ride the
most
wave.
anticipated games of the year.
It's
I
definitely
think
Hardcore Casual's most anticipated game.
Yeah,
Jay and I have been on that train since it got announced.
I think they'll have some of it new, but I think they're going to lump that in with the whole Q branch reveal, Aston Martin reveal, and then have something new, another part of the puzzle to show us.
I agree with you. Now, question is, do you think that it will be a thing where they just say world premiere and we get a 1 minute like cinematic trailer, or do you think it'll be a thing where they're like, please welcome to the stage, the game director of 007? Yeah.
I think it's going to be a welcome to the stage. Me too. That they're going to
be
double
like
down.
Like maybe like a gameplay, like a mission or something like that. Yeah. Me too.
I think they're going to double down and we're going to get another Hitman World of Assassination James Bond crossover.
Well, that would be great. They also, just random thing here, they did just announce they're doing an Eminem thing for World of Assassins where you are Eminem, like you are partnering up with Eminem to kill Slim Shady.
Slim Shady, yeah. Yeah, saw that. But I'm looking forward to that obviously too, but I think we'll get another Bond crossover Hitman. I hope they go retro, man. I'd like to see Christopher Lee's Scaramanga be in there. That would be awesome from Island of Dr. No or whatever. But
I do think that they've got to be careful about their crossovers though, because as you had mentioned before, and I think this is, I think what you've said is what's going to happen, where they will have classic scenarios, classic missions.
Yes.
And then you will play them out in the game like you do in World of Assassination for Hitman. So I think they like, would it be beneficial to have like a crossover? Yes, but I also think they need to keep a lot of those close to the vest, because I think that you're right. I think they're going to have classic missions that you will play through in the game.
Yeah, and I think that's great. I think you have so many to choose from though, that I think that's why I say go way back to where only people my age would remember it. So, yeah.
All right, and then sure things. Do you have any sure things where you're like, there's no way this Game Awards passes without this happening, without this being announced, without this being shown?
Well, I mean, I think we'll see the first. I think we'll see the naval content from Battlefield 6. I think we'll see the zombies content from Black Ops 7 just to get it out of the way.
Man, they are fighting from behind on that one.
Yeah. I think we will see Arc Raiders, some type of DLC expansion for Arc Raiders. I think we will see the Helldivers 2 roadmap, because they're nominated for a couple of different categories. So I feel like they feel obligated to show up with some stuff. I think we'll get the Monster Hunter expansion for Wilds that is competitive with Iceborne.
I'm going to start saying one, and then you will immediately, even before I am finished, you will be like, oh, yes. And I will say Hideo Kojima's next game is 100% going to be on there. Now, whether it is, and this is where the preference comes in, I want it to be Fizzant. I want more info on Fizzant, but it might be the other one that he's working on with the girl that plays Fragile in the Death Stranding series. He's also working on that game. But 100%, it's the Game Awards. It's the Keyleys. We are not getting out of here without getting a Hideo Kojima
as you guessed,
world premiere.
As you guessed, I'm going to try to cut you off since you literally said I would. I think it will be the Fizzant.
I hope so, man. That's the one that I'm really interested in.
Yeah. Oh, I also think we'll see some new footage on the Resident Evil. You can't, if you go back and watch the Video Game Awards, we've never had a game awards where Resident Evil wasn't brought up. So I think we'll get some of that as well.
Really? Is that a real
Yeah.
statistic? Wow. Well, I like, was it last year or was it just this summer where they did the thing where they're like, hey, we'll have more to say about Resident Evil. It was just this summer where they're like, when they did Resident Evil 9, they're like, we'll have more to say on the next Resident Evil entry later. And it was literally, everybody's like, oh, and it was literally like 10 minutes later. They're like, hey, here it is. But
so
before we move on to Stranger Things, the last thing I want to say is some of the rumors. So some of the rumors that are hitting the news cycle right now is I guess the biggest one would be Control 2. So another sequel to Control.
Did you play that?
I parts of it. I've not finished it.
I did that thing where, and I hate it when I do this, but I literally got about 8 hours into that and then just stopped. And there was no good reason why. I just stopped and I loved it. I loved everything I played. It was fucking twisted as hell. But yeah.
Well, so here's the thing. I'm kind of, I don't know. So Remedy is an interest. So Remedy is the developer that makes.
Yeah.
They do Alan Wake. They've done Control. They do all the what was the one where you were Iceman and it was the time traveling thing. Quantum Break. Yes. So they do all of these and they're all great. I love their games. I love their method of storytelling. I love their games. They clearly put a lot of work into them. They're very high quality, but they never seem to take off. Like they never seem to, they're always cult hits. They're never blockbusters. They're never just like runaway hits. They're always things that people talk about, and hardcore gamers will talk about Alan Wake or this or that, but they never like have a breakout success, but they still continue to be able to do it. So I'm kind of marvel at their ability to even though they don't have an outright hit, to still be able to like come out with these sequels or new projects, and especially to the degree of fidelity that they do. These are not low budget outings. These are big budget, high def, insane graphics. But they managed to keep doing it. But that's one of the big rumors out there, is that Control 2 will be mentioned. Another one is that there's rumors that one of the announcements will be a Final Fantasy 9 remake in the vein of Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, and you're going to laugh, but after the Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy crossover, the most popular cards in that set are the ones from Final Fantasy 9.
That's another. Speaking of card games, we need to talk to System. That System's thing is card games. That's his thing on TikTok.
Definitely me and him, because I don't talk about him ever, and that's like one of my favorite topics.
We need to talk about segmenting a particular spot off on the show. Yeah, you need to talk System on some of that. Some other things that we have rumored was another game from Naughty Dog. So we already know that the sci-fi game that they're working on. We know Uncharted 5 that they're working on, but there is rumor that there is a third project that they are working on at the same time with all of those that's going to be announced. We talked about Half-Life 3, but the other one is, and this one's always rumored and it never happens, and that is a Bloodborne remaster at 60 frames per second.
My son,
they say it every time and it never happens.
My son would lose his mind if they did that.
Oh yeah,
he loves Bloodborne. That is without a doubt his favorite Souls-like game.
So those are those. So I know that you have to get going. So the last thing that we really have to talk about is Stranger Things. So obviously, I believe it launched the day before Thanksgiving on the 26th.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
was Stranger Things. part one of the final season. So I have not quite gotten through the first episode. I know you have dipped your toe in as well, but we wanted to kind of talk about it just because it's obviously a big deal. And I was a fan of it before, but I realized whenever I watched that, and of course, like most things, you start it and it'll do a previously on, and I realized how little or like I have memories, but they seem to be all jumbled up. It's like whenever you have a dream and then you wake up and you can remember the details of the dream, but you're like, okay, wait, but like, so the dream felt normal at the time, but then you like look back on it, you're like, wait a minute, but I had a house that was in the middle of the Epcot Center, and Henry Cavill was my best friend, and I worked for some like underwater research facility that was like, some black ops thing for the government, and none of this was a red flag at the time, but you look back on it, you're like, what? And so that's where I'm at on Stranger Things, where it's like I watch it back and I'm like, wait a minute, how did season 4 end? Am I misremembering how season 4 ended? What's going on? And then you see Eleven's basically an X-Man now, and I'm just like, I feel like I've slept and woke up somewhere else. Like I'm like, I think I need to watch all 4 seasons again.
So it's funny. So I practice this process called mind palacing, and everybody jokes about it, but it's a very, very real thing where you attach certain memories to certain things, to music or to sounds or to smells. So I have the gist of season 4 heading into season 5, but I realized there was quite a few points that I decided not to include, which I should have. So
can I ask you a quick question? Since your mind palace is certainly better than my mind dusty apartment that I've apparently been working with for seasons 1 through 4. How did season 4 end? I thought season 4 ended with her not having powers, with her exhausting her powers, or was that season 3?
That was season 3.
Okay. That was the big thing where I was like,
to be fair, most of season 4, she also did not have her powers.
But I thought that was like a thing where like, oh, is that like in my head, I had sort of like rearranged it so that she was having trouble with her powers and then defeated it. And then that like used up the last bit and that she was out of it. That was why I was like, so where we were now, I was like, wait a minute, I've clearly misremembered something here in the what feels like 2 decades since the season finale of season 4.
Yeah. So basically, my version of season 4 was we start out where Hopper is in Russia and Joyce and what's his name are trying to figure out a way to get over there and get him. 11 doesn't have her powers. Apparently, she used to be in treatment with her papa, Matthew Modine, with the guy that is Vecna. And he was number one. Yes. Obviously, eventually he becomes Vecna. And Mike and a few of them are living in California now. So, excuse me, 11 and what's his name? Oh, I always forget that kid's name with the bowl cut.
William.
Not Mike. Yes, Byers. The Byers family and 11 are living in California. And they're not having a good time there. Obviously, Jonathan has discovered weed along with the pizza place guy, Surfer Boy Pizza. So he's a big weed addict now. He's high most of the
Wasn't that always a thing? Wasn't that a thing in previous seasons?
No, it wasn't. He was just a weird kid most of the season. He was just a depressed kid, but now he's so I
guess I'm just confusing whenever the actual actor got busted for coke. I guess.
Yeah. So Steve and Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke's kid work at a movie video store.
Oh wait, now you're okay. You're not talking season 5.
I'm talking season 4.
Okay, yeah.
So they're trying to, she's trying to find her lesbian roots and hook up with this chick. Steve is trying to hook up with anybody that will hook up with him, and Nancy is running the school paper. And Vecna is hunting down like the head cheerleader and one of the people that work on the paper. And Eddie runs the Hellfire Club. the D&D party club with
He is the
Dustin.
DM, as it were.
Yes, Dustin and Mike, and was Lucas, but now Lucas has flipped the script and turned into a jock. But
Ew.
he's absolutely torn between being the nerd freak and the jock. So there's that whole dilemma, and that's where 4 is, sort of. So season 4. So yeah, that's the whole mess there.
Yeah, so whenever we popped in on the season 5, and it doesn't help that their recap also sort of jumbles the history.
I haven't seen the recap yet.
Oh, you didn't watch the recap?
No, I'm punching through pieces of 4 to make sure I complete my.
It would probably do more harm than good to watch the recap, because the recap, it does rearrange the history. I mean, I guess there's a reason that they do it, but it's like you're seeing stuff at different points. However, it is insane to me. Like, I thought, especially given the time that we're talking about between seasons 4 and 5, as far as real time, how long it actually took them to make season 5. I thought, especially given the way that things had ended, you know, in all these things, where it's like there was going to be some space between you know, these kids and stuff like that. They could have made it after high school, but and I thought that they would, but no, now it's like, you know, you have these kids that look like they could be college professors walking through high school, you know, walking through the halls of high school, and it looks like they're the principal. It feels weird. It feels weird. So I think they should have pushed it a little bit and been like, at least make him graduate by this point. At least help me. But instead, no, we've got Lucas with essentially a full beard, you know, walking around. It was like there was one of the first shows that Netflix did, where it was like the vampire werewolf show. I can't remember what it was called off the top of my head. But it had one of the what are the brothers that there's so many, not the bald ones, the Swedish guys, that there's so many of them in Hollywood. Skarsgård.
Are you talking about Hemlock Grove?
Hemlock Grove. Thank you. I remember whenever I first started watching Hemlock Grove back in the day, whenever it first happened. But it's like that. When I remember, like, you know, because they start off with Hemlock Grove, and that you see these scenes, and then all of a sudden these characters are in the school. And I remember watching Hemlock Grove and being like, why are they in the school? Why are all these people in the school? And I'm like, oh, these are supposed to be high school students. Oh, like these look like 30-year-olds walking the halls of the high school. That's what season 5 of Stranger Things.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Where it's just like, this does not match, because, you know, they've got all the extras. Yeah, all the extras and stuff that aren't actual established characters walking around behind them. They look like high school students. And then you've got Mike walking up, you know, and he looks like he's working on his doctorate, you know, and he's talking about the football bullies. I'm just like, this doesn't fit. The only one that looks like he could be still in high school is the one that is Dustin, you know, just because of his like what conditions that he has in real life,
genetic build.
Yeah, you know, he looks like he could pass for that. Everybody else, though, it looks like the X-Men, especially Lucas. He looks like he could kill somebody. Like, I mean, he's ripped. So yeah, it's hard for me. That was a bit. You know, it broke my suspension of disbelief a bit to see them still hanging out in high school.
Yeah, Will's bowl cut with him also being like, yo. I'm like, bro, that doesn't fit at all, man. What are you doing? You're like 40. So yeah, I get it.
So yeah, we've started it. I don't know. I'm gonna watch more of it. I'll have more opinions. Perhaps I'll have it finished by next week's show. But dipping our toes in. But that's where I'm at right now. Hopefully they can dissuade me of my current critiques by the time, you know, we get to next Thursday. But
Yeah.
that's where I'm at right now. So, anyways, all right. I know that that Jay has some things that he needs to do. I have I'll do like I'll get a McRib or something. I've got stuff to do too.
Put some flatware away.
Yeah. Well, I haven't gotten it yet. I've just been looking, Jay. I've just been looking. Okay. I've been
if you
window
need any help
shopping.
sorting your flatware, let me know.
I've been window shopping online for flatware. But yes, I will, and I will give everyone a full debriefing next week on my Black Friday flatware excursion.
Can't wait.
I know that people are sitting on the edge of their seats
Yeah.
for that. So until then, thank you everyone for joining us on this Black Friday delayed Thanksgiving show, and we will see you next week. But yeah, until then, I'll see you next time.
Peace.
I must speak to you anew.